like you lost another one.
Well, Summer Showcase here, playoff edition. The first round of the playoffs have wrapped up. We are now into the semifinals. I'm Michael Washington. He's Randy Schrader here on the Shady Sports Network. Summer Showcase is winding down. This is, 3 episodes left for the season. We got next week and then a 2-week layoff and then the recap of the championship game. Randy, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you as always for having me back, Mike. And crazy game.
I mean, yeah, the first game was for sure.
The other game, not so much. But
yeah, which we were afraid of.
Yeah,
we were concerned about that.
Yeah, we kind of called that one. I think I probably put the score way too close, but we thought that was going to be a blowout, and it was.
We were hoping it wasn't going to be.
Yeah,
I think that we were trying to put that into the atmosphere.
Right.
That it wasn't going to be. I'm sure that Jamal will probably end up joining us when he gets a moment as well. I know that he's a family man and a dad, so
he's probably recovering from his push-ups as well. So
yes, his whopping 9 that he had after you did 54 the week before. So.
yeah. I got
but as far as the betting is concerned, at least you guys are 2-2.
Yes. And that's what matters. So I'm hoping he's on because I'll challenge him for these other 3 games that we have left, and then will be who's standing. Best of 7.
Well, I'm sure he's going to pop in, and when he pops in, I'm sure we'll get some spreads and whatnot with the 2 remaining games that, I guess 2 of the 3 remaining games. There he is. Locker room here, chest hurts. That's what he says on the. Jamal is with us. Hello, Jamal. Thank you for joining us as our unofficial producer again. Hey, Jamal, I don't know if you heard it or not, but Randy is actually talking about trying to do a best of 7 on the bets because there's 3 shows left, 3 weeks left or whatever. 2 weeks left, actually. So, 3 shows left.
Yep.
But 2 weeks left to try to get to a best of 7 because you guys are 2-2 right now.
So I was saying, if you got the spreads for us, Jamal, then because even if we pick the same, we can see if we're on the same page with the spread. And then we really have turned this into a betting show, and then my dream will be fulfilled.
Yeah. My dream will be fulfilled. Randy again dropping some amazing analogies with stuff that doesn't normally go with it. So the stars align for it. Let me check. That's what he said. Like the stars align for it. Yeah, look at that. Jamal's all for it.
And Jamal, it was cool to see your son getting those push-ups in too. Yeah, he was getting after it. You guys were both getting after it. Yeah,
he was. I had that enthusiasm once doing push-ups. I think that was probably when I was like in high school, but it is what it is. So let's start off with that first game, the game that caused. Well, let's get the blowout out of the way first.
Okay.
Let's just get that out of the way because we're not going to spend a ton of time on it. I think it was just a matter of the Rhein Fire being a mismatch for Madrid, right? Like Madrid's had a good season. This defense looked like that they were really, no clay left behind. Yes. I love that. That's awesome. But this defense, I don't think was just quite ready yet. You could tell that there was an expansion team out there for Madrid, and Steven Duncan again kind of goes out and lays a clunker against a top team. It was like the story of the year. It was. I hate harping on it because I feel like I'm really just like bashing this guy, but it really was the story of the year for him.
Yeah, but I think you hit the nail on the head. Watching the defense play, I think when we texted back and forth during the game, what's up, Justin? During the game, Big Mike and I were texting back and forth, and we just said the defense looks uninspired, and they did. I mean, it was like after the first drive, they just gave up and didn't even make a game out of it. And then Steven Duncan, not his best game, but What I don't like with watching how that whole thing unfolded was the camera was on Stephen Duncan a lot, and I get it's frustrating, emotions are high. I was emotional out there too, but it was a lot of bad body language that I don't really love seeing, and it just looked like from the start the defense kind of gave up. Stephen Duncan didn't think those things were going his way, and then it was just straight downhill from there.
Yeah, and I felt like I was watching a repeat Monday night with Florida State getting their ass kicked by Boston College too.
Mm-hmm.
Like DJ Uiagalelei and Stephen Duncan reminded me a lot of each other in that front. Like, they just, I didn't see a leadership role with Stephen in this case, and I don't know if it's necessarily because Stephen was upset with the game plan or whatever it was, but it really honestly just I didn't get leadership vibes from him. And maybe that was what Warclaw saw after they released him, even though I felt like it was unjustified. But maybe there were some things behind the scenes there that caused Warclaw to go, you know what, we're just gonna move on from you because you don't have the locker room. I'm not sure. But it really looked like Madrid on offense specifically was not rallying around what they were seeing from Stephen Duncan.
No, and that's a really good point. Who knows what happened in Vorklaw, but it did just. There was one time that the camera showed him kind of high-fiving guys, and it was after they scored. But every single drive that ended in a 3-and-out or a turnover or whatever it was, he's shaking his head, throwing his hands up in the air, all this stuff, and I get being frustrated, but you got to kind of rally the troops there, especially in a game against the Rhein Fire. You got to know you're huge underdogs, and just go in there and play the underdog card and just get those guys together. Now, it's a lot easier said than done, but it was just something I noticed when watching the game.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed as well. And the other thing I like that goes with that is like anytime that there was a camera on the Madrid sideline, it didn't really look like there was anybody kind of stepping up and trying to fire anybody up.
No,
the game wasn't that at hand early. The game was actually fairly close early on, and then it was just like it just for whatever reason late in the first quarter, it kind of fell apart. And once that fell apart, it just was downhill from there. And they actually they played all right moving forward. I mean, they gave up 20 points total, but they only gave up 7 in the second. They could have come out of the half and tried to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was just, the whole thing was very strange. I didn't see anybody really step up, and it really made me wonder how much different this game was going to be if Chris Hellbig was there. Because, like, that was the one win that Madrid had over Rhein, was when Hellbig was the quarterback. So it really makes me wonder if it was kind of an eye opener for the front office, and maybe they try to get Hellbig to come back next year. It's just been the games against Rhein were specifically night and day. And I know that Rhein started slow, but it was night and day between the two.
Yeah, and look, Madrid's out. They got a whole off season to get things right and figured out. Rhein Fire looks really freaking good, right? And if you're the Surge, you're playing against a team that hasn't really had a break, that is on a roll, and we can get into that after we talk about the other game. But that's going to be that game might be some fireworks, which will be fun. But the Rhein Fire are playing really, really well right now.
Yeah, they are. Honestly, I think we actually have the best 4 teams.
Yeah,
I think based, and I don't mean it just based upon just because they were the top 4 seeds. I just base it upon, I think these are the best 4 teams in the league this year. Munich, you could make a case for being number 4. You could make a case for Munich being number 4.
Well, and something I thought of when I was watching the game, when I was watching the Paris, and maybe we can talk about it now. But
we can segue right into it. That's fine.
So something I noticed is something I hope the league does next year is not base, obviously, with teams not having an unlimited budget. You gotta play conference games that are close and all of that. I get it. but you got to schedule some more of these games during the regular season. I mean, watching Munich, Paris play, there's got to be some scheduling based off of strength of schedule next year instead of just geographical, I guess, locations that goes into planning the schedule, because you need 2 of those games every week. Something that the league didn't have some of those some regular season weeks. But why has Vienna not played Rhein Fire this year? Why has Vienna not played? They didn't play Surge, right? No. Why has Vienna not played all these teams? None of these teams have played each other. So I just think the league needs to do something about that next year to make the regular season more competitive, because that was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with Jamal saying that the scheduling should be very similar to the NFL. You got 3 conferences. I think I think that if you finish first in your conference, you should have to play every first place team from the year before.
Yeah.
Like it just makes it a more competitive balance, and it allows certain teams to get better over a course of time, because they're playing teams that are more on their level, and allows them to gain that experience that's valuable, especially when it comes to winning, right? Like you've played, I know that Jamal's played, I've played. When you're winning, you are gaining more experience on how to win as a team and as an individual player, and that is invaluable stuff, right? Like it's stuff that works. You find what works and you continue doing it that way, right? Like so I hope the ELF does adopt something along those lines, because like you said, why are certain teams not playing one another, and when they technically should be? So
yeah, and I'm laughing at Justin's comment about a game in Turkey.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, exactly, Jamal. And this is it's a way to create balance.
Yeah.
Seeing these matchups twice a year, whatever it may be across the board, it really helps with being able to hopefully bring a little more, the league being able to create a little more parity amongst itself, right? Like, right? Am I wrong there?
Yeah, and if there's 4 conferences next year, let's just say there's going to be 4 conferences next year.
Yeah,
that's 6 games, so that's half your schedule, right? And let's make those games close. Let's keep the cost down for these teams to travel, but then the rest of the schedule should be more like how we're saying the NFL does it.
Yeah,
and there's way less parity in the NFL, because you don't have a draft. You kind of have free agency, but only for E and A spots. So it's just different. This would be at least some way to create a little bit more competitive balance in the league and give the people what they want, which is close competitive football games.
Right. And I think it would also help with, like you said, offset some of the costs for the traveling side of things, to be able to help some of these teams out that struggle financially, in some cases that may be poorly run, aka Barcelona, some of the other smaller teams from some of the smaller countries, whatever it may be. At least this way, it gives you a way to be able to use that money, or to be able to keep the funds going for your team as well, because that's really important, right? You don't have a league aside. You don't have a league if you don't have teams. So, and you're in your infancy. So, like, let's try to do something to help the teams out just as much as the league, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Paris and Munich, I mean, we didn't really talk much about this game. You were kind of radio silent. I know that you had. Did you have something going on this weekend? I don't remember. I thought you had something going on this weekend, so I didn't bother you too much, like this weekend with that. So
during the Paris Munich game,
yeah, I felt like you had something going on. I couldn't remember.
Oh, I had a ton of stuff going on with work. It was a cluster, but we got figured out, hopefully. Anyway, we don't need to talk about work, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on this weekend.
Yeah.
No, there was no weekend for me, but yeah, Justin's talking about public transport. Yes, I took public transport all the time in Berlin too. Yep.
In Berlin, yeah.
Yep.
Justin, Justin, you realize Munich did lose, right? Like it was a great game, but you realize they lost, right? Like
Justin is just firing off comments here.
Yeah, he's just I can't put them all up there because he's rocking with them. I mean, we love to see it. I love to see it.
But
you know,
heck of a game.
I did say one thing to you. I think like towards the end of this game, and that was, I put Zach Edwards at 2 for a reason. I just wanted to pat myself on the back there a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're right, and you're talking about, but you are talking about guys. If you're talking about guys that you trust the most, which is I think is what we were saying.
It was the quarterbacks that we trusted out of the 6 that were in the playoffs.
You were absolutely right. You nailed it. And I mean, I think we all said too, like Zach Edwards has to play almost perfect every week for them to win against good teams. And he did. I think the thing that doesn't show up in the stat sheet, because if you look at, I mean, how many passing yards do they have? 80 something. So I think 89 passing yards, which doesn't look great for an elite quarterback in the ELF, but he is their entire ground game, right? And Chris Vomo, not saying that Chris Vomo isn't, I'm saying that the opportunities he opens up for the entire run game is incredible. And even when things aren't open downfield, he's taking off, he's picking up 5 yards, and I was watching the game and telling my wife, I was like, he's the Cam Newton of the ELF when Cam Newton was like in his prime. Like you couldn't bring him down.
Nope.
And he's just bigger than everybody else. He's stronger than everybody else, and still has good speed. So he's very incredibly fun to watch. And if you take him off this team and plug in almost any other quarterback in the ELF, not every quarterback, but almost any other quarterback in the ELF, this team is probably not in the playoffs.
Let alone winning a playoff game.
Yeah.
And one of the things that did stick out to me, and one of the things that I will say is, for as high scoring as this game was, I really don't feel that either defense really played poorly. I just feel like both offenses just made plays when it mattered the most. That's kind of how I felt. Like, I don't think that they really played super poorly. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in that case. Maybe it's just it just felt like there was a lot of quality third down plays, like 3rd and 4s, and getting that first down on a 5-yard out, or there's like the plays that nobody talks about because they're not flashy, right? Like those are the type of plays, and I felt like Edwards was kind of like, okay, boys, let's strap on and let's go, because Paris's offense was kind of lackluster all year. And to put up 40, and that might be because Munich's defense hasn't been that great, but I don't really feel like either defense played super poorly. And maybe I'm out of pocket with that. I don't know, but I didn't think so.
No, I didn't think any defense played particularly poorly, even when there's 77 points scored in the game. It still felt like a physical game. I just think that Zach Edwards didn't make the mistake. Didn't make the bad decision, and he kept him in that game and ultimately gave him a chance to win. Something that I want to talk about that drives me nuts just as a quarterback is, I swear, like, do teams not practice 2-minute? Because I have seen, I mean, Munich had the ball with a chance and didn't even get a first down. The only team that I've seen come through in 2-minute this year, I could be wrong, I've watched most of the games, but the only team I've seen score on a 2-minute scenario is Paris when they played Madrid. That's all I remember. Every game that someone has had the ball, 2-minute drill, they can't even. It looks very, very pedestrian. So I don't know what these coaches are doing. I'd love to see some focus on 2-minute here.
Yeah. And I agree. And I'd like to see that on both offense and defensive side of things, right? Like, one of the things that we did talk about was that I was so happy to see no prevent defense. Down the stretch. It was cover 2 man. And look what happened. And it was funny too, guys, because for anybody that's, been with me and been with us, I should say, throughout the course of the season, I have beaten this don't play prevent defense damn it, unless you're like unless there's like an actual like legitimate reason to, um, in a sense, because it opens things up too much, right? And Randy literally messages me and was like, "You must be super happy right now," and I was literally just getting ready to message him because I was like, "Oh, I'm so happy they're playing cover two man," and he messaged me at the same time, going, "You must be super ecstatic right now."
Right? There was no prevent. They just lined up in man coverage too high over top of it and said, "Beat us," and they couldn't. They couldn't get the ball down the field,
Yeah.
and then their offensive line kind of fell apart there. It just, I don't know. I would love to see some good 2-minute offense in the remaining 3 games here, but I do have a feeling that the Rhine Fire practiced this, that the Surge practiced this, that Vienna practices this. But I'm just like, do any of these teams practice 2-minute? So obviously Paris did. They drove down the field against Madrid. So just an observation as a quarterback. I'd love to see some better 2-minute play.
I almost wonder also how much of the 2-minute stuff goes with uh, how confident people are in their offensive line too, right? Because usually when you do the 2-minute drill, a lot of it's pass plays, and I feel like there's a way to combat that. Like you just, you do a lot of quick throws, and when you have
Well, I think,
Zach Edwards and Austin Mitchell, like I feel like that could be done pretty easily.
yeah, well, in cover two man, right? You just have to find your best matchup, and usually that's like your running back or something on a linebacker. So we would even like put one of our receivers, somebody in the backfield, um, just to get that matchup. You gotta do some motion, all this stuff. In Munich, that last drive, it looked like they just went really basic and just lined up and tried to run past guys, and it didn't work. But I would have loved to see some motion pre-snap to get guys moving, to get them off that press coverage, because Paris was playing like a press 2-man, and maybe I'm getting too deep into it here, but there's also another, like, there's plenty of time, and there's time to call. Like Chad Jeffries can move. You're playing 2-man, run a quarterback draw. Everybody's back is to the quarterback. You had good field position. You had time to sneak in a run there, especially when things weren't working in the passing game. So just things like that I was watching, tearing my hair out a little bit, but but I mean, Paris deserves to be playing against Vienna, and I hope it's a good game.
I think one of the other things is it kind of felt like Munich's entire 2-minute offense there was basically we're just going to um, like when I was 13 playing Madden for the first time and I just played Hail Mary
Yeah.
like every play.
Yep.
Because Malik Stanley I think ran one route 3 times. And I think it was right up the sidelines, run as fast as you can. And that was it. And if you saw the way that they were playing their cover 2-man, it was very traditional. Like no safety was cheating down, there wasn't an offset. It was very across the at the top the cloud. There's plenty of areas you can attack in that 2-man zone if you the cover two's a man if you get it right. Like it's just, and like you said, run a quarterback draw or run something because the linebackers are all lined up on somebody type of situation. So it felt very pedestrian is the terminology I like to use for Munich at that point in that offensive side. So hopefully maybe that's something they work on for next year. And kudos to the Ravens though, they made the playoffs, and I think that was, I know their ultimate goal was obviously a championship, but I think their primary goal was just to get to the dance and hope that they go home with the chick, and it just didn't work.
Well, and congrats to both these teams. Right? I mean, first time making the playoffs for any of them. Madrid too, especially in their first season. So
Yep.
it was good to see some fresh blood in the playoffs, and it did not disappoint with that Munich Paris game.
No, and again, the shout out to Madrid, shout out to Munich, shout out to Paris, because in realistically speaking, those 3 teams are expansion teams. So kudos to all 3 of those teams for making the playoffs. And Paris is still in it. Maybe Zach Edwards has some magic left in him to pull off a huge upset this week, and or maybe not. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But we're going to take a quick break here, commercial from our sponsor, because I haven't done it the last couple of weeks, so I remember to do it this week. And then we'll be back with our semifinals predictions, playoffs, ELF Summer Showcase.
This is Current. It's the card my parents used to pay me for mowing the lawn, running errands, and doing well in school. This is the card I used when we got the idea to make our own clothes. And we spread the word, drove downtown, and sold everything we made. This is the card I use to do the things that really matter. This is Current. Visit current.com and download the app for free today.
Go do it. Go get Current. Use it. Use our code. While you're at it, use it to hit up ckcustoms.com as well.
That's right.
Get yourself support local, support Randy and his wife here. Go ahead and do all that, because that's the way to do it. Right, Randy?
That's right. Go download Current. Go buy some CK's Customs gear for the football season coming up here, or that started.
Yeah.
Started.
Yeah, well, we got two days. 2 days. Game number 1, Chiefs Ravens. That's a different show, but
Yeah.
We're here with Summer Showcase talking the little ELF playoffs. I'm Michael Washington. He's Randy Schrader here on the Shady Sports Network. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the little notification dingy as well. Also, while you're at it, go to ckcustoms.com, and make sure you hit up Athletes Forum too, and follow them as well. Jamal is the man as well, and follow Justin Kelm on X for all your overseas football. And when I say all your overseas football, I mean literally all your overseas football. Even countries I didn't even know played football. He will make sure to let you know that they do. So if you are interested in that, follow him. Yes, it is. Jamal, I'm so glad you ripped that wound open for me as well. It is. I think I have resigned to the fact that this is going to be Miami's year down in the Florida, and they're going to reign supreme down there, unfortunately. So,
They look good.
Hey, maybe Graham Mertz and DJ Uiagalelei can go, play in one of those leagues that I didn't know existed, because that's about as good as they both are. So, as you can tell, I'm ready to move on from Uiagalelei. Already done. See you later. Let's go. Semifinals. Let's talk it. Let's do it. We got Paris. Zach Edwards, does he have some magic left in him for another upset, or a upset of sorts? And they're traveling to Vienna, taking on the Vikings, which, I've used the word balanced all year, the most balanced team in the league. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I'd have no idea what to expect from Vienna or the Surge, simply because they haven't played football in a few weeks. And I don't know if that's to their advantage when you're playing against both of these teams, Paris and if anyone, we got Paris and Rhine, who are hot right now down the stretch. And I don't know. I always kind of feel like I would rather be rolling than be coming off of a break, especially like a 3-week break. So not that the Surge did, but Vienna. So it's just an interesting kind of dynamic we got going into this week.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I would almost say that Paris's current hot streak is probably more impressive than Rhine's, because they did it over 6 games, 5 on the road.
Yeah.
Well, technically speaking, 6 on the road, because their home game really wasn't a home game.
That's right.
So, I mean, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah. It's very impressive. And do they run into a wall when they travel? Going to Vienna is a little bit different than playing a home playoff game that's 2 hours away, or going down to Madrid or wherever. So I think that this game is going to be high scoring.
Yeah.
Just like the last game. I think that, again, the only chance that Paris has is if Zach Edwards goes 20 for 25 for 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, and runs for 2. With another 100 yards on the ground. I mean, he has to play perfect up there in Vienna, and I don't know. Does the magic run out, Mike, this week?
I'm not sure. I'm going to look at it from a different perspective, though. I think this is actually going to rely on Paris's defense. This defense was number 1 for a while. And what is this? This is the best. Oh, yeah. Look at this. I have a show dropping tomorrow morning. If they pull this off, it's the best playoff run we've seen in the ELF. I completely agree with you, Jamal, and I can't wait for that show. Make sure you follow Athletes Forum.
Check out Jamal's show.
For sure. But I think this is going to come down to Paris's defense, because this was the number 1 defense for a majority of the season, right? This was the team that was winning a lot of these close games because the defense was making plays when it mattered. You cannot go into this game scared. Scared money don't make money. You know what I mean? Like, this is Paris getting an opportunity and chance to go out and be like, our defense can hang with the best. You have to go in and not already be defeated, which I feel like happens a lot with Vienna. I think teams kind of roll into Vienna like, I don't even know why we're here. It's kind of like the Tom Brady effect. Remember all those years when Tom Brady, like, you go into New England and you're like, oh, we're beat before we even get off the bus. If Paris doesn't have that attitude, and I don't think Zach Edwards is going to let them have that attitude, but if they don't have that attitude, and this defense can kind of confuse Ben a little bit, or maybe try to get pressure on Ben in unique ways to confuse him, I don't think they will have to rely 100% on Zach to win this game, if that's the case. So that's the way I'm looking at this game.
Yeah, I think that I don't have as much faith in the Paris defense after how they've played the last few weeks. And I'm trying to look at their schedule here. So they gave up 37 to Munich, and then they've played some pedestrian offenses. But when they played good offenses, Berlin, Rhine, they've given up a lot of points.
Oh yeah.
And I just think they haven't faced an offense like Vienna. And you are talking about a veteran Vienna team. I mean, I know Ben Holmes is a rookie in the ELF, but he's a great American quarterback. I mean, we got Reese Horn. We got the whole team is kind of a older veteran team. So I think that the bye week that I was talking about and not playing the week before, I feel like when you get older, that tends to play to your advantage a little bit. And Paris, that's a tough ask to go on the road again and play Vienna. There is something different about that place. I played when I played in the ELF, and it's a whole different. That will still be the coolest away experience I've ever had playing football. So it's just, there's something about the atmosphere when you walk in, you hear the Skol chant.
I love that. Man,
it's amazing. It is an amazing place to play, and there's just something different about it. I think that, like Jamal said, Zach faces the team that gave him the first round exit in year 2, and that game was not pretty. Zach Edwards did not give up, and it wasn't like they gave up or anything like that. But they got smoked. Barcelona did a little bit by Vienna, so it's just a different ball game. Now I think Zach Edwards has a better team playing this year in Vienna than he did with Barcelona, but I see Vienna rolling from the get-go, and that's why I'm saying I think this is going to be offensive fireworks for the whole time. So Paris has got to put up 35, 40 plus points to win this game.
Well, they put up 40 last week against Munich, which is not nearly as good of a defense as Vienna. What's your score prediction and who wins?
Yeah, so I'm going Vienna, and I'm going to go Vienna wins by 10. So I'm going to go 40-30.
Another 40. That'd be crazy. First 3 games, all the winners end at 40.
Yeah.
That'd be nuts. That'd be insane. Jamal, what's your prediction, my man? We got to get that in there. We got to find out. I'm going to preface this by, first and foremost, if there's any Vikings players or personnel out there that are watching the show, I love you guys. I'm supporting you guys. You guys have been nothing but awesome to us here at Shady Sports Network. However, I am cheering for Paris. I'm picking Vienna, but I am cheering for Paris to win this game, and I'm doing it because I need validation.
Oh, you can stand on top of your soapbox the rest of the year saying that you called Zach Edwards and all that stuff. But hey,
it's more because I'm actually a Zach Edwards fan. I like Zach Edwards a lot. I like how he plays the game, and I really enjoy his play style. And most and foremost, he's a quarterback. When I watch play, I'm like, I could have played for that guy. You know what I mean? Like he's very much I'm putting the team on my back and going type of situation. Yeah. It's not really I don't really actually need the validation. I just really like Zach Edwards. I love Vienna though as a franchise. Right? I do. I love Vienna as a franchise. I think they're the most balanced team. I think they're one of the best teams in this league. That's why I'm predicting them to win. I agree that it's going to probably be fireworks. I'm going to say 41-33 in their game, but it's just more of I'm a Zach Edwards fan, so I want to see Zach win it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, hey, it would be cool to have a team that hasn't been in the championship game So if Paris wins, that would be cool to see. In Germany, September 22nd. But I just think that you're talking about a really, really tough out in Vienna, and you're on the road. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's definitely a very tough environment to walk into and expect to come out on top. Yeah, Jamal, I'm with you, man. It was a hard game to pick because, like I said, I love the Vienna organization. Like I said, they've been nothing but cool and awesome to me. So I just like Zach Edwards, man. I would love to see him get it. It's like that it's always like that quarterback that's like there, and like you really like the guy and he never wins it. Like when Peyton Manning for a long time went without, and you're like, just get there, Peyton. And then he finally gets it, and you're like, yeah. That's kind of like what I want for Zach. I want him to be there, and I want him to get that opportunity. So, Ryan at Stuttgart. This is a pretty tough game to pick. Wow. Semifinal game.
It's a tough game.
Championship. What did Caroline say? I heard her in the background say something.
She said no question. Oh, so you're picking Stuttgart?
No.
Okay.
No.
I believe these are the two best teams in the league playing this game. So, and I think they've shown that the whole year. And I believe that you take out one game for each. The Tebow game for Stuttgart, the Madrid game for Rhein, but they've had a tougher schedule, in my opinion, than Vienna. Both of those teams, so they've proven more, in my opinion, than Vienna has. I think it'll be a close game, and I hope it'll be a close game. But I could see it being very much like the championship game last year. Lots of scoring and good quarterback play, really good just solid quarterback play. So give me Rhein. I think that Rhein wins this game, and the reason they win this game is because it's just so hard to stop Glenn Tunga. And then when Glenn Tunga gets going, Jadrian Clark has time, the play action game works, and they take huge shots down the field. That's been their recipe all season long. And I think maybe they don't put up 50 like they did in the championship game, but I think they put up 40 plus. I'm going Rhein Fire at 42, Stuttgart 32.
There's your bet right there. We got Jamal down here in the comments, 24-21 Surge.
Wow.
There you are.
Okay. Well, there's one.
Right, Randy, you're an alum though.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. I don't know if
we getting a bet on this one? Is this a push-up? Is this number 5?
You want to multiply it by 100? No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I can't do. I'm not doing that. I will do it. I will multiply it by. I'll multiply it by 5 though, if you want, Jamal.
By 5. Oh, Jamal. Look at the stakes are up, and
I'll do 3. I'll do 3 if you don't want to do 5.
fifth bet times 5.
I'm not scared. Ryan is winning this game.
Well, while we wait for Jamal to figure out if he wants to agree to times 5 or not, I will go.
You can do 3. You can do 3. You tell me. It's your world.
No, you could compromise and go 4. I think the math is a little bit harder on that, though.
5. We're doing 5. Oh my gosh.
Oh wow! Look at that. The Shady Sports Network Fitness Program times 5. I'll tell you what. Randy better hope that it's on a 17-point victory like it was the last time he did this.
Oh man. Caroline, I don't know what I just got myself into.
Caroline, in case you missed it, he times 5. He multiplied by 5 on the bet, the push-ups bet with
because Ryan's gonna win the game. So he's the one that's gonna do 50 push-ups, not me.
Okay then. All right. I love Glenn VP. I'm stealing the Ben VP, and it's Glenn VP. I mean, he's the MVP of the league to me. Ryan isn't going to get the big plays that they got against Madrid in this game. I think Stuttgart's defense is too damn good. This is going to be a very grueling and grinding game, but this is perfect for Glenn, right? This is a perfect game for Glenn. Yeah, you don't sound confident, Randy.
No.
He's not. He's not, he says. Ryan is definitely on the hottest streak here. I'm picking the Fire to win this. Close game, though. So that might be good for your times 5 bet here. 42-40. I think that this is going to be a very high scoring game. If there's an over under out there, I'm probably taking the over. I just fully expect Riley Hennessy to put his team on his back and just kind of go out there and Daryl Stewart, man. Nobody talks about him. But yeah.
He can do everything, huh?
Oh God, he can do everything. Jeez, he can do everything. He's just so damn good across the board, and he's very similar to Aaron Jackson, in a sense, like they just go out, produce every year, and nobody ever really talks about him, right? So, it's very interesting. Also, by the way, I want to ask you a question, Randy. Last year, 2023. This is a trivia question, by the way. This was on Fourth Down Fiasco, which Jamal was a guest on. Okay, and everybody got this question wrong except for me. I wasn't on the show, but I got it right. So it's kind of a layup question, but I want to see if you get it as well. In 2023,
that's one way to set it up. It's a layup question. I get this wrong.
In 2023. Who had the longest kickoff return for a touchdown?
How is this a layup question?
Oh my God! Come on.
What?
Who was number 1? Robinson.
Who's number 1?
He was number 1. Did he play for Munich? His last name was Robinson. A team or a player?
Player, individual player. I thought this was easy. I literally answered it before I even finished the question. Yeah, Jamal knows what I'm talking about.
How is this easy? Michael, you have to remember one thing here. All right. I played last year in the Danish
that's
League.
right.
So
I forgot.
I was playing ball. I was not watching the ELF.
I forgot you. Never mind then.
And if I had time, I was watching film on the other team.
Yeah, I forgot you were playing last year.
So I think I watched maybe the championship game and some playoff games, but I did not watch the regular season.
I take it back then. It wasn't a layup question. It was Aaron Jackson.
Okay. Jackson. Well, you just set me up. I should have just guessed Aaron Jackson then.
Yeah, I just set you up for it. I said his name.
Gotcha.
No, it was Aaron Jackson. I thought it was a layup question for everybody, but I mean, but I to be honest with you, I'll be honest with you across the board though. The rest of the questions on those, like that trivia, Jamal killed it. Jamal absolutely killed it. I got a few of them right. I'm also a little bit behind. I wasn't starting at the ELF from season 1. They went all the way back. As well. Yeah, Burrell was a good one too. Yes, no, that was I thought that was a great guess too, Jamal. You're absolutely right. It just I knew it was Aaron Jackson because I watched the play. In that sense, like I was like, this dude's legit. But no, but kudos to those guys because those guys were throwing out like trivias for questions that I was stumped on. So I would have easily got my ass kicked, Jamal. I was just giving you shit because you were here. So that's all. That's all that was. Because I literally thought it was the easiest question out of all of them. So other than like,
here's a question:
Yeah.
How long was the field goal that was missed at the end of the first championship game? See if
ooh,
Jamal knows this.
that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm gonna guess because I really don't know. 34 yards. I was gonna go big too, and I was like, "This is a trick question." So.
Oh, now I'm second guessing myself. I thought it was 61.
Oh, well, maybe it was 61.
But
See, I
Jamal,
was
no, I'm going with Jamal. It was 58. Even though I think it was 60. Even though I think it was 61.
I was gonna go big. I was gonna say 60 originally, and then, but I thought maybe you were setting me up for failure. So
Nope.
No, dude.
Jamal, I'm going with Jamal. I'm second guessing myself. Now we gotta look this up now. Yeah, no, trivia is not gonna be my thing till maybe this year. I've watched almost all the games this year, but
Yeah.
man, yeah, no, I was playing.
No, he said he could be wrong though. So,
Yeah, I thought it was in 61. We'll look this up and we'll
look it up again. All right. So for viewers out there that have stuck through this, mess of a end of a trivia here that I thought that Randy was actually going to be privy to.
You should give me the answers beforehand.
Yeah, I know, right? Off air, be like, I'm going to ask you this question, put you on the spot. I think that's just called cheating, Randy.
Hey,
if you're not cheating, you're not trying, right?
That's right. Whatever gets you to pass,
Yeah.
Kids, don't cheat.
Don't cheat. Yeah, don't cheat. Clean sweep for Vienna and 2 for Ryan, 1 for Stuttgart here on the panel.
I want to hear Jamal's just quick reasoning on why he thinks the surge. He just because Newman gets the bye against. I guess this is my thing. Is the Rhine Fire, in my opinion, they have 62. Dang it, I was off. So I was going to say,
no trivia question to get wrong.
Yeah, I got my own trivia question wrong.
Trivia is not your strong suit, huh?
Rounding error. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. The Rhine Fire have an NFL staff, and I just always say that going into every week. And not that Newman's not a great coach, but everything else considered, players, talent, even where they're playing, to me, just how good the Rhine Fire coaching is. It's so hard for me to bet against them at any. So that's why I'm picking the Rhine Fire. But I'm interested to hear the other reasoning for the surge. But
well, since I said that I want to see Paris in the finals, what 2 teams do you want to see?
Do I want to see?
Yeah.
I think the best game will be Vienna-Stuttgart. So if we had a Vienna-Stuttgart game, I think that would be an amazing game. I think Rhine Fire wins by double digits against both of those teams. I think they win by 10 plus points against Vienna as well. So that would be the game I'd want to see, just because I think it'd be the best game. But I'm not cheering for any of these teams. I'm just I'm going to be a fan watching. I'm not.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan across the board. It's just I just Zach Edwards soft spot. I mean, I love all 4 quarterback. I love 3 quarterbacks, and like the 4th quarterback that's in the Final 4 here. So I mean, yeah. He said,
Who do you not like? What's the other quarterback?
I love Riley Hennessy. I love Zach Edwards. I love Jadrian Clark.
Okay.
I like Ben Holmes. I personally just think Ben Holmes is overhyped.
Ben Holmes is the most talented passer of the 4. I think Zach Edwards is the most overall talented freak athlete. The things that Ben Holmes can do as far as ball placement, anticipation, making throws, and putting it on the money, contorted different body angles. He is the best pure passer out of the four. Riley Hennessy is the him and Newman just have kind of that connection, and he's the most in charge. But so is Jadrian Clark. They're kind of similar to me, Riley Hennessy and Jadrian Clark. They seem like kind of the same quarterback. So I don't know. I don't think you can dislike any of them here.
Oh, I don't dislike Ben Holmes. I just think he's overhyped. My biggest thing with Ben has always been, if he doesn't have a good team around him, he doesn't find a way to win. And that's more than just the ELF. I mean, it goes back to, past whatevers. But I don't know. I kind of digress a little bit on it because he's had such an impressive season. It's really hard to be like, Ben Holmes, like it's hard to just, to discredit what he's done, right? And say that it's only because of the team around him, right? Because of just how good he's friggin' played. With him being hurt and he's still come out and put up those stats and played as good as he has, it's crazy, Definitely goes to what you were saying as far as his arm talent is concerned. You know what I mean? Like it's just, but I just really like the way Hennessy, Edwards, and Clark play the game, and maybe it's also a little bit of bias because I saw these guys play last year, and Holmes I didn't see play last year, right? Like so maybe there's a little bit of bias there as well. So, but
the most quarterback centric game, and this sounds weird to say, will be the Stuttgart Rhine game. The only reason I say that is when you watch both these guys play and talking with some of the coaches on both of those staffs, those quarterbacks are in charge. You look at just when you watch this game, look at what Riley Hennessy, Jadrian Clark do at the line of scrimmage. They're given a lot of freedom, and they're the ones flipping plays, audibling. They're in the most control, and I think that will be a fun kind of back and forth chess match battle to watch. And then as far as what Jamal's saying, hey, I would be pleasantly surprised if what Jamal says is true. And I do think a surge versus any of those teams, Paris or Vienna, would be a better championship game than Rhine versus either of those teams. So
yeah, I'll be honest. I was kind of hoping for Rhine Stuttgart. I saw the brackets. And I saw the brackets, and I was a little upset because I kind of did want to see a rematch between the two because I feel like Stuttgart's in a different spot this year. I'm glad that we're getting a different championship game, only because of the fact that I don't like seeing the same teams repeatedly. But so it's kind of cool that we're getting the rematch now in the semifinals. It's just I feel like it would feel different if this was a rematch of the championship game, right? Like it would feel different. Which team does Paris match up better with? If Paris does upset Vienna, which team? I'm just making stuff up right now at this point in time because I love this conversation. So, which team matches up better with Paris if Paris was to beat Vienna?
Well, I think maybe it's somewhat of it's maybe not as easy as your trivia question that you asked me, but it is somewhat of an easy question because we kind of have the answer. We saw Paris play Rhine this year, and it wasn't pretty at times. So not that it would be easier for them to play Stuttgart, but we kind of know what the Paris Rhine script looks like, and we know it can be a 38-6 game, and I don't want to see that in the championship. So I do think they probably match up a little bit better against Stuttgart.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too. I thought I was thinking that. Rank our Final Four what? Rank our Final Four? I mean, we're in the Final Four.
Rank your Final Four? Rhine, Stuttgart, Vienna, Paris.
Rhine, Vienna, Stuttgart, Paris.
Vienna over Stuttgart.
I just think they're the most balanced team left. Just if a team finds a way to slow Glenn down. I know that that's been virtually impossible this year, but if a team finds a way to slow Glenn down, I feel like Jadrian is having that kind of year where he hasn't been able to put the game on his back to win. As weird as that sounds, because there's only one loss on the year, but if you look at the early games when Glenn wasn't going, Jadrian struggled to get the footing underneath him. Now that maybe that's completely different because that was way at the beginning of the year in comparison to now. So I feel like Stuttgart and Vienna are the only two teams that can kind of throw that balance off. But I will tell you that those top three teams are very, 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 very close.
Yeah,
they're very, very close.
I agree.
So
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And Jamal did say it earlier in the year too, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good question, Jamal. Well,
That's a
hey,
great question.
yeah, hopefully you don't have 50 push-ups for me this weekend.
You guys are hoping for a single-digit game, that's for sure.
Yeah, whatever it is, let's just win by 3 points here or something.
Randy's like, win by 1, please.
Yeah.
Somebody win by 1.
I need Jamal to know what it feels like to do 54 push-ups, though. So,
well, I mean, yeah, you have to hope for at least a 11 point victory.
Points. Yeah,
11-point victory there.
Yeah. I feel good about it. I feel good about a 10-point victory by Ryan Fire.
Boy, if this game ends up being like 63-3, somebody is not going to be on the show next week because they're not going to be able to move.
I'm gonna be saying I did it and get one of those AI generated videos or something. That's what I'm gonna figure out how to do.
Randy's gonna do 5 and then loop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Jamal said me too for sure. Oh man! All right. Well, Jamal, you can put anything if you have any final thoughts in there as well. Randy, any final thoughts before we sign off here on Summer Showcase with man, bittersweet. Only 2 episodes left after this.
That's what I was gonna say. It's been a lot. It has been a lot of fun, and I appreciate you having me on every week. And man, it's crazy. It's coming to an end. I just hope we get 2 great games this weekend. That would be wonderful. And big shout out to just everybody doing their thing, spreading the word for European football. I appreciate you all.
Yeah, I literally walk around in public with the games on my phone, so people are like, "How are you watching football?" And I'm like, "It's live. It's not a recording," and I tell them about it. So I've been trying to spread the word as best as I can up this way, Jamal. I don't know if you do the same down there in Portland, but I've garnered a few people that are interested watching on my phone up here. So yeah, man. Final thoughts, dude. Two episodes left, Randy. I can't thank you enough for being a guest as often as you are and have been. And I would like, I know that things change year to year, but I would like for you to come back and do this with me next year as well. So hopefully, schedules work out and we can make it happen. If not, though, I can't thank you enough for being on the show this year and being a guest and just being awesome with everything and talking football with me, man.
I would love to come back. We'll see what the wife says. I think she's cool with it. And then, man, you're gonna make me tear up here. We got 2 more left. All right.
Two
more left.
I didn't mean for you to get so emotional.
Finish it off strong.
For sure. We'll definitely finish it off strong. If not, maybe maybe I could find another co-host next year, or maybe if the agents for Jamal, all 3 of them, his kids allow him to happen, maybe he can come on and guest spot once in a while here as well. So yeah, man, I'm just excited that we're getting to the championship game. It sucks that the season's winding down, but yeah, just thanks for coming on, man, and joining this. And thanks to Shady Sports Network again, once again, as always. In Germany we trust. Yes. I don't know, is that English in German? Is that in German? I know it's a spelling error. It's just funny. because foreign languages, for giving us a platform to talk about ELF. And by all means, go enjoy the last 2 games, European League of Football. You guys can purchase the pass if you guys have not done it yet to be able to catch the championship game and go see what this league is all about and what they're building towards for the future as well. Shout out to Athletes Forum. Jamal, go follow him. Like his YouTube channel. Make sure you're following his videos. Hit up ckcustoms.com. Get yourself some football gears. Randy's wife Caroline does some wonderful work, and she'll gladly take the business because support local businesses and support people you know. And I don't have a business, but you can still support me. I can link up my my Cash App and stuff to you guys if you guys want. Support me, support the network, specifically support the network. Hit the button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the little ding, you get the notifications. All right, 2 episodes left, Randy, and the championship game coming right up.
It's going to be the best 2 yet. Let's get it.
It certainly is. Go Pack, please beat Tennessee. Yeah, I can't stand Tennessee, so.
I'm going to that game.
You are going to that game.
Yeah, Caroline, wife, the whole family's going. So, yeah, we don't feel good about it, Jamal, after the showing that NC State had against Western Carolina.
I was actually just going to get ready to say you guys probably should have gone to that one. It ended up being a better game than I think everybody expected. So
I know.
Yeah.
She said we don't have to bore everyone with NC State football on the podcast.
Oh, don't worry about it. We're Florida and Florida State fans. We're already bored. So until next week, I'm Michael Washington. He's Randy Schrader. So long. Enjoy the games this weekend.